Hi everyone, this is Amy. So we've exported our director station report into Excel and changed it up a little bit to make it easier to read. However, it's still not going to print very well. So if we want to change it up so it's easy to print, there's several different tricks we can use to make it a readable copy. First thing we can do, well, I'm going to get rid of this first row first of all because we don't really need it. So I'm going to single left click on the number 1, which is the row header, and then I'm going to go up to delete, and that little arrow beside delete, I'm going to tell it to delete this sheet row. Alright. Okay, so a lot of times you'll notice when I send you a weed list that you'll see stuff on the screen that doesn't print. So you can actually choose what is on your screen is going to print. So we can choose to highlight just this portion of the data. So I'm going to highlight this portion of the data. And then I'm going to go to the Page Layout tab. And I'm going to click on Print Area. And then Set Print Area. Now when I go to print, it's only going to print the columns up to this point, and it's not going to print any of this information over here. Now I just widen my columns so that I can see a little bit more information, which is good. The problem is when I go to print this, you'll notice that the page break is right here. So it's going to print this information on the first page, and then oops, our item ID is going to be on the second page. Let's see what that looks like. So we're going to go to File, Print. Okay, so here's our first page, and we're going to go, no, our item IDs are all by themselves, which is not what we want to see. Really easy way to fix that. We're still on our Page Layout tab. We're going to go here to Width. This tells the spreadsheet that we're going to limit this to one page. So it has to all fit on one page. And that will, if we go back to File and Print, now we see our barcodes on one page. Keep in mind though that it will fit everything on the page, and if you've got a lot of stuff, it's going to scale it down. Right now we're seeing it 94%, which is still readable. But if you had a lot of data, it might scale it down to like 48, which font sizes can be really small and really hard to read at that point. Alright, let's see. If we print right now, we have a pretty good readable report, so you could stop at this point if you wanted to. A couple other things that make it a little bit more snazzy is I'm going to widen this row right here. I'm going to highlight this row, and I'm going to go back to our Home tab, and then I'm going to wrap text. That wraps text so you can see the entire column title header. Another thing you might want to do, you can go back to our Page Layout tab, our Print Titles, and we're going to choose a row to print at the top of every page. We're going to select this rows to repeat at top. We're going to click on this little button right here. Then we're going to click on 1 to select this row. Click back on the little button right there and select OK. What this has done, if we go back to our file and our print, as you can see, this column has a column header of call number, title. Now if we go to the next page has that same column header. So it prints the column headers on every single page. Another thing you might want to think about doing is perhaps headers and footers. You can get to that several different ways. You can go to print title and then header footer, or whatever way is your best way to get to it. Footer, I'm going to just drop down here and tell it page 1 of 1. You can pick a header, or you could pick a custom header. Like you could pick Batesville FY report, or whatever you want to call your report. and then click OK, and this will put us a header at the top of the page, footer at the bottom of the page. Lots of different things you can do still at this point. You can move your columns around, like if you don't want your published at this point, if you want it further on, you can click on the D to highlight this, right click, and we're going to cut this column out. And then let's highlight over here and tell it to insert the cut cells. That kind of moves things in case you don't want to see all the data. You can see it over here. One of the last thing that you might want to do to make things a little bit easier to read is you notice that the title and the author are kind of running together. We don't really want to widen this column out so far that it doesn't run together anymore, because if you go here you see scale is 71% and things are getting kind of small. So we want to see most of the title, but we don't necessarily need to see the whole title. But we don't want things to run into each other either. So if we highlight column C, go back to our home button, and we're just going to indent this column a little bit. We're going to tell it to increase the indent. That's going to move this column over a little bit, which is going to put a space between our title and our author. So that'll make things just a little bit more readable. Let's go back to our file and our print, and that's pretty darn readable to me. Hopefully these tricks help you out. If you have any other questions, give me a call or shoot me an email. Thanks, and I will talk to you later.